Coming up next, we're going to give you our spoiler-filled review of the one, the only...
Tuxie!
Welcome back to Eye to Eye, Disney Through Our Eyes. This is our Disney variety channel where we talk about anything and everything Disney. My name is Kyle.
And my name is Jessica. And before we get started, if you don't mind, just go ahead and subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our crazy content.
So we have, I think, another check in the column of Jessica winning in the terms of Disney movies for 2020.
Oh, for sure.
So
but are you saying it's winning because it made me cry?
Yes. That's
okay.
Look, literally, I will always maintain this. If it makes this one cry, it must be a good movie. And, I mean, because literally, I just don't know how you haven't cried at some of the things we haven't seen. How are you not moved to tears when Tony Stark... By the way, spoiler alert for this movie and anything else.
I did cry when Tony Stark died.
No, you didn't. I looked over.
Yes,
You're just
I
like
did.
stone-walled face. Nothing in the world just bothers me at
When
this
Peter
point.
Parker went over and was like, Mr. Stark, I love you. Yeah, I cried.
I don't believe it because I didn't see it with my own eyes because you were probably asleep during that moment. Anyway, this is
How would I have remembered that?
This is not the Avengers Endgame review. This is the one, the only Island spoiler-filled review. Ivan, whatever.
You're on an island.
I am on an island over here by myself and no one else can come over. The one and only Ivan, and this is spoiler-filled, so if you haven't watched it, this is your final warning. Get out of here now. So, what'd you think?
I loved it.
Clearly because you cried. But, like, what's the main thing that sticks out to you from this one?
Well, I'm gonna go with the talking animals. That's kind of a...
I mean, Disney talking animals go hand in hand, I mean.
Dead parents, talking animals, you know.
Were there dead parents in this one?
Well, yeah, Ivan's parents were dead.
Wow, she found the connection.
Remember,
after
his
all.
dad got shot, and his mom got lost. So, and then his human mom ran away, and then his human dad abandoned him to the zoo. So
it was abandoned him. They got it taken away from him by the zoo.
Well, I'm just saying. There were a lot of dead parents.
There was a lot of, like, parental drama in this one.
Also,
wow.
Ruby, the elephant, remember she kind of, like, bonded with Stella, and then Stella died?
What is this
Dead
with
parents
Disney
all
and
around.
dead parents? And
even though
parents
Stella's not a
removed?
parent, but you know what I mean.
Can we just have one movie where the parents are together and, like, happy and everything? I guess that just doesn't create drama. I don't know.
So, anyway, back to the talking elephants. I was going to say talking elephants, but talking animals.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a great thing within the movie.
They did a good job of, you know, because it can get a little weird, obviously, when you're trying to tell, like, a based on a true story. And for those of you that don't know, this is based on the story of the gorilla Ivan, who lived life in captivity, working as kind of a sideshow aspect in a mall in Tacoma, Washington, and eventually found his way to a home at Zoo Atlanta via some other routes and things like that. But it's based on a book that was written by another individual about his story, and obviously they took some freedoms and how that happened, making animals talk.
Which I loved. It
did make it very good, yeah.
I was surprised that it made it as good as it did, but it just kind of endeared you to the story even more.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, we did see some CGI issues
in some of the characters.
Yeah, so this wasn't as good as, like, Dumbo, the CGI in Dumbo, or what is another one?
Now, okay, well, The Lion King for one, that's a pretty good one.
Well, yeah, I feel
although
like...
a lot of people had problems with the talking lions and stuff in Lion, said the mouths just look weird. When you're trying to make it a real, what looks like a real life animal talk in human, like, movements and mouth things.
I can't even imagine the challenge they went through. But I will say, Ivan was done really well.
Yeah, he looked really good.
And so you were the one that kind of pointed out the issues. Like, what did you see that you didn't?
You know, it was in, like, some of the minor characters. You can tell they took their time with Ivan. They took their time with Ruby and Stella. Some of the main time spent with some of those animals. But even Bob, who they spent a lot of time with, the stray dog, when he was, like, running, it was like, oh, wow, that was kind of
that looked kind of weird sometimes.
It was a little bit off. You can tell they took their time with some of the other characters as opposed to the other ones. And that's my only gripe in this one. That's
not a big gripe.
That's not a bad deal whatsoever.
Yeah.
Let's talk specifically about the characters. What's the, obviously Ivan is right at the top of Sam Rockwell voiced him. What'd you think about it?
Oh, I thought he did a great job. The other one that kind of stuck out to me was Bob. And I kept saying, why do I know this voice? Danny DeVito. Of course you know that voice. And I felt like that was the perfect voice actor for Bob.
When I saw that Danny DeVito was going to be voicing something, I was not picturing Stray Dog. Because, we stereotype his character. He's Phil in Hercules. Yep. He's always the short, kind of grumpy character in live action stuff he does. So you're kind of thinking, is he going to be like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say a pig or something like that. But he's a stray dog. And it
still worked out.
I thought he did a great job. He was very entertaining. Played well with Sam Rockwell, who I also thought, I was like, I don't really know of him doing a lot of voice acting things.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
Yeah.
But I also thought he did a really good job because Ivan's character isn't one that was really... Ivan wasn't very funny or anything, so you almost need these other characters to kind of add some comedic relief.
But what Ivan lacked in just straight humorous moments, he brought the feel.
That's it. And that was his role. His role was to be heartfelt and genuine, whereas, the stray dog or the poodle were there for comic.
Because we were already endearing ourselves to Ivan's story, and so we didn't really need something extra. Just sell us on Ivan. And that's what I think Sam Rockwell did a great job as.
Absolutely.
Angelina Jolie was Stella, the adult elephant.
That died.
Yeah, died. There's one of those moments again. So we didn't get to spend a lot of time with her.
But she did a really good job.
I did like her voicing of that character. And then we didn't spend a lot of time with this one, but Helen Mirren was the poodle Snickers.
Yeah, what a weird name.
Who names their dog Snickers? I'm sorry if that's your dog out there.
I've heard worse, so...
What have you heard worse?
Well,
Like it, come here it, or you, hey you, come here.
Right. Boy Cat. We do know somebody who named their cat
Oh,
Boy
wow.
Cat.
They're watching this right now. They're like, dadgummit, Jessica, way to call me out.
I didn't say who.
So those are the main voice actors in this one. I think they had a great cast filled out in that one. So let's human characters. Bryan Cranston was Mac, the main one in that. What
Perfect casting.
You think so?
I think he was phenomenal. Yeah.
Here's the thing that I like about Mac and Bryan Cranston's performance at it. So I took a soapbox moment in our non-spoiler review. If you haven't seen that, go check it out.
Let me just start the timer.
Soapbox, okay. So, I have a background as a zookeeper, and I am very passionate about the subject of animals under human care, or what we used to refer to as animals in captivity. That's like a taboo word now, so we don't really use it as much, even though I think it's completely fine. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think sometimes there's always this dynamic of should animals be in the possession or under the care of humans in any scenario, or zoos or private owners, and this can get really sticky and hairy. But I thought in this situation where Bryan Cranston's character was clearly a private owner, and you've seen some stories of where things have not gone so well. We're thinking about, even though Tiger King was a zoo, that's
to say we're definitely all thinking Tiger King.
We're all thinking about that. We're seeing things where things are not done well. So there are those things, but sometimes that overshadows the things that are done well by zoos, the things that are done well by private owners that do good work for animals that are in need, and don't necessarily just bring them over for entertainment value and things like that.
Endangered species and rehabilitation areas and those kind of things for animals.
So I thought it did a good job of, I was afraid they were going to make Mac the villain in this, how dare you go do this to this animal, but it built him up as a loving owner of this animal, but eventually put aside his own interest, whether he was forced to or whatever. They didn't really get into that, and just said, hey, this is what's best for Ivan, this is what's best for Ruby, the rest of the animals, and move forward that. So that really endeared me to this movie, is that they didn't make a villain out of what sometimes in popular opinions could be made out to be a villain. So I just really love that and appreciate that from a zookeeper standpoint.
Well, and speaking of that, like you said, this really did talk about the importance of zoos and what zoos do for animals. And at the end, and I think it all kind of put a new light on us. Obviously, I've got positive feelings towards zoos because of you and because of growing up with zoos, but it also shows that that zoos are kind of rehabilitation places for these animals, and it really made an emphasis on this was Ivan's dream life.
Or not even, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, Ivan wasn't an animal that could have gone out into the wild, realistically. So he probably would have been eaten alive,
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Put it out there.
So to think about Ivan being as close to the wild as possible, but still being kept safe, it really just put this warmth in my heart for zoos. wow, look what they've done for him. And they've given him a life outside, because even as you watch the credits, there's this little scene before that telling Ivan's true story and how for 27 years he never went outside and never saw the light of day. And so you think, like, that also made me tear up when you see him go outside for the first time. You're like, wow, you know, this is what he needs. This is what he's meant to be.
And I wish they had used Zoo Atlanta's actual habitat to, like, show his first shot. But, you know, I could see where, just knowing the layout of that, it probably wasn't as picturesque and sunny as
but I was glad that we got some pictures of the real Ivan in the real Zoo Atlanta.
That was cool at the end. I was like, I know that place. I know that little stone over there.
And it was awesome seeing Ivan as a baby with his pictures of his real owners. Like, everything was just, I really loved the ending of this movie and how it just tied everything together and showed the positivity of, you know, what his owner did for him and what the zoo could do for him as well.
So the big message of this is where you are in this idea of animals in captivity or under human care, whatever phrase you're comfortable using, that yes, there are, in any situation, there are people that do bad things, but there are people that do great things. And usually the truth lies somewhere in the middle, that we're trying to just make the best of the situation that you find yourself in.
There's a really nice quote that I'm going to butcher, but
oh boy, here we
I think it's by Fred Rogers that talks about always look for the helpers.
Look at her over here busting out some Fred Rogers.
I'm just saying, always look for the helpers. Always see the good in people, and you can find the good. And I thought this movie really did a good job of finding the good.
The warm and fuzzies all the way around here. All right, let's pick main characters that were favorites for us.
Okay.
Who's your favorite main character?
So my favorite main character is going to be kind of controversial over whether she's main or not. But I'm going to go with Julia, the little girl. Main character. So Julia's my favorite because without Julia, Ivan would have never been a painter.
I guess in this movie, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Which is what we're reviewing.
And she's a main character because without that, the plot doesn't move forward. With the whole
so she gave him crayons to begin with. She gave him paper.
Yeah.
And then she gave him the paint, which is how he ended up painting the mural that said, I want to go outside.
Well, it didn't say I want to go outside. It just painted.
That's what it said.
No, it didn't. It was just a picture of the landscape.
But in my mind, it says I want to go outside.
Wow. Okay. Well, that would have been like a little bit more clear for everybody. Hey, I want to go home.
But you know what I mean.
No mistake.
You know what I mean.
My favorite character was Mac, and I've already said my reasons why. It's because I think it struck a good balance of someone who was trying to do the best he could at the time, but sacrificially put his own feelings and love for Ivan aside to do what was best for him to be in a better situation. So that's why he's my favorite main character. We didn't pick Ivan, which feels a little bad, but...
It does, but that's okay.
Still a great character, just not our favorite. Your favorite minor character?
Bob. Bob the stray dog. He was hilarious. You know, I love the funny characters, and Bob was it for me. I would adopt that dog in a heartbeat.
Frankie, the sea lion, very limited role, but every time he spoke, I chuckled just because the characterization they used of that sea lion is what I imagine the personification of a sea lion would be, and it was good stuff all the way around. I just really loved it.
I really love this movie.
How about this? Real quick, kind of wrapping things up. I was a little disappointed by the escape scene of this because I thought it was going to be a bit grander than it was.
So I can see why you'd say that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I thought it was perfect. They escaped. They did what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. They made it across the street, even though there were some tumultuous times. The bunny rabbit lost its truck. But
that's what you took away from that. Is the bunny rabbit lost his truck.
That was sad. They made it into the woods. They got there and they realized this isn't everything it was cracked up to be. And I think that's a good life lesson. The grass is not always greener.
Look at you're busting out Mr. Rogers. Grass is not always greener on the other side. What else you got?
I'm just saying, if they had waited and they waited till the right time and Ivan painted that picture that didn't say I want to go outside, but it really did. And then they all got to go. But when they tried to do it on their own without help, they realized this is crap and we're all gonna die.
And there it was. I was like, when's she going to ruin all her feel-goods that she's been throwing out here? And there it was. And then they're all going to die.
Wouldn't they? They would have died. There would have been people that would have tranquilized them or shot them. And because they were in the middle of a neighborhood, that
really
little
bringing
bunny
this down
would not
right
have survived anything.
You are really bringing this down.
I had all the Fred Rogers stuff, and then you just shot that down. So here we are.
So now that we've gone from the high point of why you should value zoos and watch this movie and support it, and here we are now at the bottom of the pits. And on that note, I want to encourage you all to share with us in the comments section your thoughts on the movie, the one and only Ivan. What did you think about it? What you like? Didn't you like? Do you agree with some of our opinions? We'd love to hear from you down there in the comments section below. What else should they do?
If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
And we'll obviously have some more content related to this, whether it be about the one and only Ivan or other movie reviews, in the description and up above as well. Thank you for watching this edition of I2I, but until we assemble again,
may the force be with you.
And we'll see you real soon.
Bye.